Hey, everybody. Did you like how I just did my own theme song just there? I hope you did. Jay here with a quick interruption. I don't have ads, so I'm going to advertise myself in the middle of this podcast. Why not? This is somewhere north of 300 episodes when you're listening to this. And golly gee, it has been a journey, and I appreciate you coming with me on that journey for this whole time that you've been here. Maybe you've been here from the beginning. Maybe you've been here since like an episode ago. I'm just glad you're here. But I do have to say this. We here at Blockbusting, and there's literally a we. Chorkin, come around to the other side of the camera so we can see. Look, guys, I got a staff now, all right? I got interns, okay? I got producers. I got stuff to handle here at the space that I record at and elsewhere. And I want to be able to pay these people. And I, unfortunately, do not make the kind of money to pay these people myself. And that's where I hope that you can come in by supporting the Blockbusting Patreon. Yes, that's right. We've got a Patreon. I haven't plugged it in a bit, but I'm going to start plugging it heavy now because why not? I want to pay these folks, all right? And you can support the podcast for just as low as $1 a month, all right? $1 a month goes back into the show. I'm not even paying myself. I don't care about paying myself for this podcast. I care about giving a little something back to the people who help me out because I'm getting a lot of help from people these days, and they deserve a little something for their efforts beyond just my eternal thanks and gratitude, which they're going to get anyway. So you can subscribe for $1 a month. You start getting access to bonus content from me, like I'm posting episodes of my game show Wrong that I'm doing here in Los Angeles that I'm not posting to the public. I'll start posting bonus episodes of me talking about stuff again. What's Good with Jay Light, where I just talk about what I liked that I saw on the television and the internet and stuff these days, because that's how you do for Patreon. We still have the JFlix level, the $5 tier, where you can get access to my full film, television, comedy special library. That's just $5 a month. It's cheaper than pretty much every streaming service out there, except for, I guess, Apple TV is $5 a month. And they have Severance and Ted Lasso, so you really can't go wrong there. And they got Coda. I mean, Coda, what a delight. But you know what I've got? Xanadu. And nobody else has that. Duh. I've got A Day Without a Mexican, Los Stitches' least favorite movie. You listen to that episode, it's a great episode. But you just got to watch the movie, which I have on JFlix for $5 a month. I got a bunch of weird stuff. So go consider, please, subscribing to the Patreon for Blockbusting. The link is in the show notes. Or you can just go type into your little web browser right now, tippity-tap it into patreon.com/blockbusting. Again, that is patreon.com/blockbusting. And your support will go to helping me throw a little cash the way of the fine folks who help make this podcast happen. That's all I'm asking is you throw me a little something so I can throw them a little something, okay? We're going direct. Because, you know, this is like thoughts and prayers with guns. Like, saying thanks is only going to do so much. I want to give them cash, okay? At least buy them a coffee or something. Patreon.com/blockbusting. You can join and support for as little as $1 a month. And that's all there is, folks. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate movies. I'm your host, Jay Light, joining me today for the second time, this time with a movie she likes, Marcelina Chavira.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you. I think that anybody who heard my first problems with Godfather 2 and then noticing that I am defending Queen of the Damned will have a rightfully interesting opinion of my taste in movies.
Yes, perhaps. Maybe just a little bit, because this movie, I watched it and I don't get it.
I
don't. There's so many questions that I have.
Is one of those questions why a 18th century violinist would be a nu metal frontman?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's one of the things that I think made the most sense about the movie to me. That part I didn't even worry about. I was like, okay, he's doing some weird experimental, like, Devil Went Down to Georgia style violining in the 1800s, 1700s. Yeah, sure, he's going to be into experimental nu metal. He's going to the guy who's the lead, the front man of Korn, of course, that's going to make sense. There's weird experimental nu metal shit going on there too. But my biggest question, we were briefly just talking about this. This movie's called Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
It's got Aaliyah. She is the Queen of the Damned.
She's fantastic.
She's fantastic. She's all over the marketing. She's all over the posters. All over I remember seeing the DVD covers in Blockbuster because I would, whenever I could distract my mom long enough, I would go walk down the horror movie aisle at Blockbuster and just stare at the covers because there's always scantily clad women on them. And this was a 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy wants.
And tiny, shirtless Stuart Townsend behind Aaliyah.
Yep. And yet, she is in perhaps 20 minutes total of the entire almost hour and 45-minute long movie.
That's how long Hannibal Lecter was in Silence of the Lambs, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Silence of the Lambs was not called Welcome to Hannibal Lecter's movie. That's the big difference, I think, here. I mean, there's a lot of problems I have with Queen of the Damned, but you love this movie.
I
Why?
love this movie. I have no idea. I have kind of an idea. This was the first movie that, besides Harold and Maude, which I love, so don't think I have a horrible taste in music. I mean, not music,
in
movies. Hey, nu metal's great. Shut up.
I feel like we're at a nu metal resurgence now, and I feel like that's not even the worst opinion you have on this podcast, is that nu metal's great.
Nu metal's great. The year was 2002. I was a sophomore or junior in high school in Dallas, Texas, where you were close by.
I was close by.
And I had just gotten into the band Orgy.
A band who I hadn't heard of until doing
just
research
now.
for this movie.
Yeah, their first album was called Candy Ass, and I thought that was hilarious. I really enjoyed it because they did a song called Dreams in Digital, which had a drum and bass remix that I was obsessed with at the time.
I would have probably been into that if I'd known about the band Orgy.
Oh, yeah. No. I actually heard the drum and bass remix first, and then I was like, who's this band? I like this song. And then it was over. And then I watched Queen of the Damned and loved it. Yeah. So drum and bass is the gateway drug to nu metal. But yeah, it was 2002. I was sexually frustrated as a teenager in high school, and
as you do in Texas.
Yep.
And
we have to go back for a second. Before I tell you this, I have to tell you this. When did Interview with a Vampire come out? Like 94?
I think 94. Yes, 1994.
So it was 8 or 9 when it came out, when I saw it. And I was.
Oh, you saw Interview with the Vampire?
In the theater. I was obsessed.
Okay.
I was absolutely, totally in love with every aspect of this movie. It was like, I was Kirsten Dunst. I was Claudia.
So I've never seen Interview with the Vampire. What's the deal with Interview with the Vampire?
It's the gayest movie you will ever see.
Okay. Okay.
It's fantastic. Like, little 9-year-old me, I started puberty really early. I started puberty at like 8 years old. It was probably because I saw Interview in the Vampire.
Probably.
In the theater.
I think that probably unlocked the puberty belt.
And like Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise's best movie, I swear to God, he's brilliant in Interview with the Vampire.
Okay.
Just watch it for Tom Cruise alone, and then stay for Antonio Banderas's like tiny part, which is also just so hot. But this homoerotic, like beautiful, crazy, candlelit, lace dripping thing just landed in my childhood lap. And when I got to high school, full-fledged puberty, watched Queen of the Damned, was into starting to get into nu metal. And it blew my mind that they made this album for the movie, that they got like actual musicians to
Oh,
write the
yeah.
songs
I mean,
that Lestat would have written and sung.
right. And it totally tracks that a vampire is going to become the lead singer and frontman of a new metal band.
When he
It makes
first,
total sense.
When he first comes out, like I wasn't even high. Like
And he's just chilling on the Marshall speakers
I
while this band is
cheered.
having practice.
I was alone in my house and I went, yeah. Because it's just so dumb. It is so dumb and so joyous and so wonderful. I think everybody in the movie knows what movie they're in. Like they're all chewing scenery. They're all melodramatic. Stuart Townsend's having so much fun.
I would agree with that. I do, and I think that like Marguerite Moreau is doing a good job. But I feel like the biggest problem, and I don't even think I need to have like seen Interview with the Vampire to have the context for what's going on. I just felt like there was such a wasted opportunity with all of the movie setup. Like it was truly like the first 45 minutes of this movie. There's so much setup and exposition that I don't really need to know. Like I'm okay with the way the movie starts, which is Lestat comes back, he shows up at a band's practice, and then he goes and has like a press conference where it's projected on this giant screen. And it's really weird, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of into this. And then
flashback.
Then we have a flashback that's 30 minutes long, and it doesn't reveal anything really new or interesting other than like, all right, you get to see Lestat can play the fiddle, and he made Akasha's veins run one time when she
Wasn't that
was
cool
statue.
though? The statue stuff was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, but like, do we need 30 minutes of buildup to get to that point?
What that like little flashback was basically Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
They just like rehashed Interview with a Vampire, except instead of Louis and Lestat, it's Marius and Lestat, which I think is. I haven't read the books. I'm not an Anne Rice person. Like I said, I was very small when I jumped into this fandoms, and I didn't want the books to ruin whatever I had built up in my tiny, crazy little mind.
Well, especially because Anne Rice famously did not like Tom Cruise's casting as this.
But when she saw it, she was like, "Oh,
I'm on board. Yes,
I get it. He's so good in it. Oh, so good."
Did he get? He didn't get nominated for any awards for that.
No,
did
he should have. It is. I seriously, literally his best role ever.
I also, from a production standpoint, I don't know why. If we know that this is a sequel to Interview with the Vampire, they originally were like the role had been out to Tom Cruise, and they pulled it. Why?
I think it's because they sat on it so long. They only had like when they were starting to do this movie, they only had 2 years before Anne Rice could chime in again. So they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta make this movie before that crazy lady can tell us what to do with it again." So I think they just like rushed something through as fast as possible, which is why we have this fantastic mess that is Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned. So
the Vampire Lestat and kind of Queen of the Damned at the end.
A little bit. Yeah, it's mostly just the Vampire Lestat.
Yeah.
And this is a movie that, I mean, critics hated it. Somehow it did recoup its money. It made $45 million on a $35 million budget.
Woohoo!
The public reaction, the film received, this is according to Wikipedia, the film received mostly negative reviews from critics, with several reviewers such as Roger Ebert describing it as goofy or damned.
Yeah.
The film has a rotten rating of 17% at Rotten Tomatoes, with the site's consensus calling the film a muddled and campy MTV-styled vampire movie with lots of eye candy and bad accents. And there is, I mean, that's accurate. Right?
Yes.
There's a lot of eye candy in this movie. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of time we're spent hanging out in goth clubs in LA. This is, by the way, one of the most secretly LA movies that I've seen. There's a lot of stuff that happens on the Sunset Strip.
The first time I went to the Griffith Observatory, I was like, "Oh, this is where Lestat."
Yeah, everybody talks about Griffith Observatory, an LA landmark is seen in Rebel Without a Cause and Transformers. Nobody talks about Queen of the Damned. For good reason, because this movie, bad. Why is this movie still, why does it stick for you? Because I just felt like there were parts I was like, this is cool, but I was like, I don't get how you can be in love with this movie.
It's just the whole thing. It was a mood. It's a very accurate capsule of the way things were in 2000.
Yeah. That's okay. That's fair.
And it feels warm and cozy. I love the eye candy. I love the eye makeup. I put on extra highlighter in the corners of my eyes today because I have tried that eye makeup look and I just look really tired. But it's just everybody is having fun in the movie. You can tell people are having fun. Oh, the thing that pissed me off the most when I was younger watching it is that the lyrics that what's her name? I can't even think of her. Marguerite
Moreau.
Marguerite Moreau. I have seen this movie like literally every 2 or 3 years since it came out.
You make a point to watch this.
I do.
Oh, geez.
In college, I said to my friend Mal, I was like, Mal, next time you go to Walmart, look in the DVD clearance bin. If you find Queen of the Damned, buy it for me.
If there's ever a place where you're guaranteed to find this movie, it's at the Walmart clearance bin.
Exactly. I knew where to find it.
Yeah.
I know what this movie is, and I still love it.
Right. This is just shy of being. I've made reference to this a couple times recently. This is just shy of being like a Love's Truck Stop clearance bin movie. But it's got too much production value to be a Best Buy clearance movie. It's Walmart or bust.
Yeah, exactly. The director actually, what else has he done? I looked at the list and I was like, oh, really?
The director, Michael Reimer, Australian. There's a lot of Aussies in this movie.
Did he do Aeon Flux as well?
No, he did Battlestar Galactica.
That's right.
That's his big success. He also directed Wait, is this the same perfume?
It's not the same perfume.
Oh, it's not the same perfume. Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was excited.
That perfume is very good.
Really?
I enjoyed that perfume.
Wait, his perfume?
No. The one that I thought it was for a second.
I love that one. That book is really good too. Have you read the book?
No.
It's fantastic. It's better than the movie.
Okay. I have to read the book. But yeah, he did Battlestar Galactica. He did American Horror Story Asylum. He did some Hannibal, the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
He did Man in the High Castle, Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones was that first season was so good. They're all like weird, horny sci-fi things.
I've never seen Battlestar Galactica, and I hear wonderful things about it, which is shocking to me given what happened with Queen of the Damned.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine watching Queen of the Damned and trusting anything that Michael Reimer has ever made ever again. But also, I don't think a lot. Now that I'm thinking on it, I really don't think a lot of the movie being bad is his fault. I think he's got an interesting aesthetic. I did as ridiculous as so much of this movie was. I do think it is kind of well directed.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It is a ride. It is entertaining. It's so ham-fisted. It is so ham-fisted.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like
it's practically an entire pig-fisted. That's how ham-fisted this movie is. Just two hogs.
Hogs going at it. With vampire teeth.
Right.
I think it is well directed. I think Aaliyah, her performance was captivating.
Oh, yeah.
Captivating. Just her movements and even her bad accent. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked for me.
I think it makes sense for the Queen to have a bad accent because they don't know where she's from. They don't know what time period she really, what people from that period sounded like. So, yeah, just let her run wild with a weird accent that nobody can really understand where it's actually from.
Stuart Townsend, though, was supposed to be French, and I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know what he's doing either. Stuart, was he a guy? Was he like somebody who was clearly supposed to be having a moment? Because reading the list of people who they passed over to go with Stuart Townsend, like they passed over Heath Ledger to go with Stuart Townsend, which makes no sense to me. He's in Queen of the Damned. He's in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a real like 0 for 2 record on making movies that are good and entertaining.
He was in Aeon Flux, where he met Charlize Theron, I think. That's where that connection came from. He was Charlize Theron's
They were together
consort.
For 7 years. Oh, wow.
He's Irish, I think.
He is Irish.
Why do I know these things?
That is the best thing that he has ever been involved in, is this long-term relationship with Charlize Theron. who I think it looks like she left him shortly after she won her Oscar.
Well,
Good news.
Yeah.
On to better things. Let's talk about Aaliyah's performance.
All
Because
right.
I do think, in terms of stuff that I do think is actually worth highlighting in the movie, Aaliyah's performance is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that she died shortly after the filming. She was only in 2 movies. This was her second one. It feels like, even though she's only in it for like 20 minutes, it does feel like this was a moment for, if she was alive, casting directors would have been like, oh, we're gonna get look at the star power she has.
She's
Chewing up the scenery and the actors. Huh? See what I did there? Vampire
When she
jokes.
ate the heart. That was cool.
Yeah. She eats a heart on camera in a goth vampire club. By the way, the goth vampire club could be any number of clubs on Santa Monica.
That one was that one's supposed to be in London. That particular one's supposed to be in London.
I didn't know that.
That's okay.
I thought we were just doing another like weird the opposite end of Santa Monica past the Jack in the Box or the very far end of the Sunset Strip.
You don't remember
Like
the
old
scene?
school Bootsy Bellows.
Yeah. You don't remember the scene where she goes in with the other groupie and he calls her Talamascan and the other groupie's like, I'm Episcopalian.
I remember that. I laughed at that.
She says she's from London in that scene.
Even though she doesn't have a British accent
Yeah.
at all and isn't even trying to have a British
No.
accent.
Well, apparently she's from the Mojave Desert because that's where Aunt Maharet is.
Right.
That's where she was raised.
Also, how do you have someone in your family with a name that's clearly some sort of, ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and you're dealing with vampires who have names that are also that ancient sounding, and you don't for 1 second think, I wonder if my aunt is an ancient vampire.
And that creepy with those dolls. Oh my God. That was the scariest part of the movie was the pan over those dolls at the very beginning and at the end when she wakes up in the bed in Aunt Maharet's compound.
I think by that I don't even remember that happening. I think by that point in the movie I had completely checked out.
That's okay.
Because as soon as we hit what feels like the peak of the movie in the scene right before that,
concert.
which is at Goth Coachella in the desert, where you only hear a little snippet of Down with the Sickness.
Yes.
Which I mean, it tracks. Like, it makes sense that that's happening. I thought that Disturbed might have actually been playing on whatever the side stage was.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a legitimate music festival.
That scene is really cool. Okay, so if you watch the director's commentary of Queen of the Damned,
which this is the only time anyone who listens to this podcast will hear anything from the director's commentary, because nobody's going to go find the director's commentary cut of Queen of the Damned.
you don't have to. I don't blame you. But they gathered those extras in the crowd were just like randos that they picked up from in like buses and bussed them out. And they were just really excited to be part of this vampire movie. And while they were taking the like they hadn't heard the music before, it hadn't come out yet. They were still filming. So as they were filming, the crowd learned the lyrics and were singing along and like were really, really into it. And that's how they were just a bunch of goth vampire kids that they bust to the desert.
I love this era of goth too, by the way, because this is where we're getting some really freaky looking goths.
Yeah.
We don't have goths like this coming into the late 2000s. I heard a lot of comparisons between this movie, or not heard, I read, but comparisons between Queen of the Damned and Twilight in terms of fan base.
I can totally see that. I hated Twilight because they took my beautiful, super queer thing and Mormonized it. And it was horrible. I'm like, no, the vampires are for the weirdos. Vampires are for minorities.
Yeah.
And little queer kids who are confused and have to grow up in Dallas, Texas in the Bible Belt. And I'm like, this is my bastion. This is where I live. And then you go and make them get married?
And play baseball?
And play baseball?
One
And
of
play
the straightest
chess?
sports there is. It is very strange to think, though, like the goths and weird kids who like Twilight, I feel that they're so much more normal in terms of like outward appearance than the goths and weirdos and queer people who like
The
Queen of the
fetish
Damned.
wear.
Yes. There's nobody who likes Twilight who's also wearing, you know, like a full leather duster with no shirt underneath.
And a
Casually.
latex hood.
Yeah.
I loved that latex hood on that lady. I don't know if you saw it in the London Vampire Club, but there's a lady with a latex hood on, and I'm like, yeah, go on with your bad self.
I like people who are into in this context, like body modification style piercing.
Yeah.
You know, like these are the kinds of fans who would get horn implants.
Or split their tongues.
You know, or exactly real freaks and weirdos, and not these like sterilized Twilight fans. This is not fine.
See,
all right?
You do understand, Jay. You do understand.
I totally understand. But I just wish that it was a actually better movie and not just a vibe.
We all wish that, but sometimes we don't get the movie we want. We
You
get
just
the
gotta
movie
take
we
what you
need.
get. Yeah.
We get the movie we need, and that is the movie I needed at that point in my life, and it is still there for me today.
I have a sort of interesting question, which is, you know, normally I would ask if you would make changes to the movie, and I feel like there probably would be some changes, but I do feel like this is maybe a little bit more interesting. So if, for whatever reason, Hollywood execs decided to remake Queen of the Damned, I don't know why they would. Maybe somebody lost a bet, but somebody gets the chance to remake Queen of the Damned. Who do you get? Who are some of the staff you have involved? Like, who you have directing it? Who are some of your leads?
Oh, wow. I never even thought of it because the movie's so perfect as it is. Don't laugh at me.
We're talking this is a movie that will never wind up in the bargain bin.
No. Oh, wow. Well, first of all, what we should do is the biggest thing I have now as somebody who went to college and grad school and studied post-colonial theory and whatnot. Aaliyah was in this movie, and she didn't get to sing. She didn't get to do any of her music. So first we would fix, I mean, I love nu metal, but it was a moment, so we need a different route.
That's fair. There was originally a duet between Aaliyah and Jonathan Davis. They were supposed to record.
No way.
And they wound up never making it.
No way.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm actually going to look that up right now. I don't know if that's because. Oh yeah, it was due to her death. But that was.
Oh my god.
That was originally going to be a big part of the soundtrack.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that would have been so cool. Oh, I'm so sad, Jay.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to give you this tiny bit of info that I figured surely you would have known by now, given that you listened to the director's commentary of Queen of the Damned.
Maybe I blocked it out because I was too traumatized. Do you know who might be a good Lestat?
Who?
Bruno Mars.
Oh, because you got to get somebody who can sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, are we still going to have it be nu metal, or are we going to allow it to be?
I think we need to allow it to be whatever
Bruno
is
Mars-y,
now.
loungy.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think Anne Rice was more like David Bowie-y. Whoever wants to correct me can.
Fair.
But like in that terms of a pop star, more like maybe Aerosmith, definitely not nu metal. I don't think nu metal.
What about like a SoundCloud rapper? Like what if we got like Lil Uzi Vert to be to be Lestat? You
know what? I think that's okay. Considering this movie, I love that.
Because you know that if they did that remake, we're going to have somebody's going to get discovered on SoundCloud, and then a TikTok sound is going to be made, and then there's going to be a bunch of TikTok dances.
It's just Billie Eilish. She's Lestat.
Oh my
now.
God, that's perfect.
That actually would be pretty good.
I'm on board with that.
That would actually be pretty good. I would like that.
And then who do you have directing? Is there somebody who you feel like?
I think a music video director would be, because the music videos also at the beginning with his like homage to Nosferatu and Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
I liked that.
Those are really cool. Like they really went into the nu metal aesthetic. They did the music videos. They produced this whole album whose lyrics are not at all what they are in the book. Because when she's like, "Oh yeah, I heard the lyrics, and those weren't the lyrics that were playing on the those lyrics aren't in that song. That song's called Redeemer, and Marilyn Manson sings it, so we can't listen to it anymore, even though it's a really, really good song. I'm so sad because it's a really good song, but we can still listen to the rest of the soundtrack.
Yes. What about? Have you seen Moonage Daydream?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the previews, but I agree.
I will say, I mean, Brett Morgan is not a music video guy, but based on watching his work with Moonage Daydream,
I think that's great. Have you ever?
I feel like it makes sense.
Have you ever seen The Hunger or Ganja and Hess?
I've not even heard of any of these movies.
Are you kidding me?
Actually, I think you did. You might have referenced Ganja and Hess when we did the Godfather episode.
Maybe it's a vampire movie. It has the gentleman who was the lead in Night of the
Starring
Living Dead,
Marlene Clark and Dwayne Jones.
Dwayne Jones. It is a black vampire movie. It's very important in terms of horror noir. It is a brilliant movie.
Heard of this? Directed by Bill Gunn. Oh man,
it's on Shudder right now, I think. No, not a lot of people have heard about this.
It was remade by Spike Lee in 2014 as The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
You know what? That has been on my list since it came out, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But now that you say that out loud, I get it.
And what was the other one? The Hunger?
The Hunger, which I'm surprised you haven't heard of. It's Susan Sarandon, David Bowie, and Catherine Deneuve.
The Hunger. All that comes up when I'm looking
that
at
one's
The Hunger
very
is
queer.
The Hunger Games.
No, that one is Susan Sarandon and Catherine Deneuve are like a couple. It's really great. But those are both like very earthy, gritty.
Oh, here we go.
I feel like that
This
vibe.
poster looks earthy and gritty.
Yeah, that vibe would be good for a reboot of Queen of the Damned.
You do need something kind of like earthy, like real. If maybe cinema verite-ish a little bit, you know. Like I just saw this movie. It's old, but it sort of fits that vibe. It's called Possession. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, with Sam Neill.
Yeah, I just saw that, and I feel like that's a really like dirty, gritty, grimy kind of movie.
It's these like late 70s feel. Yeah.
You know who would be great for this? Luca Guadagnino. He did. I mean, thinking now, I'm like,
Yes.
we got Possession, then we got his Suspiria remake.
Yes,
which
I
there's a
did-
lot of similarities.
I love Suspiria.
Same.
I love that movie. And the remake, I wasn't mad. I thought it was good.
I've only seen the remake. I haven't seen the original.
You haven't seen the original?
I know I got to see the original,
Are
but I
you-
loved the remake.
Oh!
The remake,
Jay, you're killing me.
that was like an early date that my girlfriend and I went on, and we saw it. And during the last 15 minutes, our jaws did not close, mouths open, agape the whole time.
The original's different. The
There's
original's
not
very
a
different.
bunch of bodies exploding in different
you
times.
know Argento, right?
Not really.
Whoa.
I haven't seen any of his work. I know.
All right.
I got some blind spots, Marcelina. Come on.
You got to see the original Suspiria. It's not at all like the new one. It's
Okay.
very colorful. It's very bright. The paint, the blood is tempera paint. It's giallo. It's
Okay,
that.
yeah.
It's giallo cinema. It's
Right.
supposed to be very graphic and it's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. It was one of the most gorgeous movies I've
Okay.
ever seen. Definitely watch Suspiria.
I gotta check it out. There's so many movies I gotta watch. now.
Yeah, especially Halloween's coming up. You have to watch the original. Just don't divorce it complete. That's how I went into the remake. Like that's how I try to go into any reboot or remake. Is like I'm gonna forget the first one, just see how this is on its own merits. And even though it does have Dakota Johnson, who, you know.
You're
She
not a
did
Dakota
great.
Johnson fan?
I'm not a Dakota Johnson fan. I'm like, there are other actresses who's, you know,
Who don't have family.
family who could have, but
At
she
some-
she is a good actress.
She
And
is a
she
good
did
actress,
a very good
but-
job in Suspiria.
At some point, we're going to have an entire Academy Awards nominee slate that's just going to be the family members of people who were nominated like 30 or 40 years before.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of that.
I don't like it. It feels icky.
I don't know how good for the industry that is.
It feels icky, and I do understand that these families, you know, to some extent, talent is genetic. I'm really smart because, I actually take that back. Anyway,
You went to grad school. You're smart.
I did. No, I went to grad school, and both of my parents. My father went to law school. My mother went to med school. So we are a very smart family. We're a very academic family. But so actors, their children will probably more than likely have a better chance of being a good actor if your parents are a good actor. I totally get that, and I'm not going to take away some of our favorites out there, like Jamie Lee Curtis,
True.
who is the most fabulous person in Hollywood, I think. I love her so much.
She's great.
She's fantastic. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That
Incredible.
so good.
A movie that still better get nominated for all the Oscars. I think it might. I think it could get it nominated for a bunch.
My only beef with that movie is that there's a throwaway joke at the beginning where Michelle Yeoh says to her daughter, "Why are you bringing a white girl home?" And then her daughter says, "She's half Mexican." That actress is not half Mexican. I am half Mexican. Frida Kahlo is half Mexican. That's right, her dad's German, so I'm just as Mexican as Frida Kahlo. Everybody gotta know that now. Oh, but that actress was not half Mexican. But I did laugh really hard at that joke.
It is a good joke.
That's
though.
a really good joke.
But I see where
Thank
you're
you.
at.
That was the only thing that took me out of the movie briefly.
We've really covered a lot of ground today, Marcelina, and I do think that despite my unchanged mind about Queen of the Damned, I get where you're coming from.
Thank you.
And I think that if you got any sort of weirdo sensibility within you, and you also are a big fan of Korn, then you should watch this movie.
And Static X and Godhead and any other new metal.
Yeah.
If you like campy, it's so campy.
It's very campy.
It is ridiculously campy.
If you're okay with watching Aaliyah eat somebody's heart and then set a bunch of people on fire with her mind,
And then walk through the most horrible VFX wall of fire you have ever seen.
just bearing her vampire teeth the whole time.
The costumes are so good. The costumes are so... Oh, and there's that line that Lestat says to Marius, "How did you get through the 50s in Red Velvet?" And I was like, you were asleep. Never mind.
There's so much that I missed, and I don't...
Well, you haven't seen it 12 times, Jay.
That's true. And I don't think I'll ever see it 12 times.
I am not mad at you for that.
I don't think I'll ever see it 2 times.
I appreciate that you saw it once for me and that you could experience this with me.
I am too. I think we are now closer as humans, closer as fellow Texas escapees who have different ways of escaping from that during our childhood and young adulthood.
How did you escape in 2002?
I was not escaping in 2002.
No.
I didn't really start escaping until like 2005.
Ah.
In 2002 I was middle school.
Oh,
so that
okay.
was in the thick of like, I'm being bullied, I'm a weird kid, I don't know what to do about it yet.
See, if you had watched Queen of the Damned in middle school, that might have changed your life, Jay.
Here's the problem. I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 rated movies in middle school.
It would have changed your life even harder, Jay.
I would have had to watch Queen of the Danged. And
Princess of the Darned.
That's the one. Yeah, if somebody could splice over my childhood copy VHS of Return to Camelot or Quest for Camelot, with Queen of the Damned, that would be great.
Wait. So, did you watch a lot of Wishbone? Were you one of those kids?
Oh, yeah, I watched a ton of Wishbone.
I was a little too old for Wishbone, but I remember Wishbone.
Wishbone was great. I remember they had a Nickelodeon magazine where they interviewed the dog wranglers for both the Wishbone dogs, and I was so excited to
That
read
was
that
a Texas show, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a Texas show because everybody had Jack Russell Terriers for a while.
Oh yeah, people loved Wishbone because Wishbone that was at like peak PBS, because this is before PBS made all of their shows fully animated all the time, right? You still had your Reading Rainbows were out there. You still had a little bit of Shining Time Station. You still had a little bit of Wishbone.
Oh man, that was Ringo. Man, that was cool.
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit of Ringo and of George Carlin era too. I think because they showed some reruns.
Oh my goodness, that was a cool show too.
Great show.
See, you kind of escaped. You got there.
It took me a while. I had the weird stuff, and then it was very normal, and then I went back to weird stuff in like high school. Marcelina, where can people find you on the internet if they wanna bond with you over Queen of the Damned?
Well, my website, marcelinachavira.com. My Instagram at the Death of Marat, like the painting and the play. Twitter at Mark_O_Lena. Yeah, they're both very difficult, and you probably won't find me, and I never update them.
I appreciate that after an illustrious career in the entertainment biz, you still have not compiled any of your social media personality under one thing.
Well, the death of Marat was taken on Twitter, which I thought was rude. Otherwise, it would just be the death of Marat all over. But yeah.
I have a friend of mine who just changed his social media from Here with Joe Carl to Here with Joe because Here with Joe finally showed up. Because he'd been going by his first and middle name, and now he doesn't have to. Now he just gets to go by the first name.
Nice.
And he's so excited, and good for him.
Good for him.
But also, I would never have that kind of energy to like keep an eye out on if Jay Light finally shows up on any of the platforms.
Diet J is brilliant,
I'm
though.
keeping it.
Diet J is absolutely fantastic. Don't ever change that.
That's high school for you.
Ah!
Sometimes my best ideas I came up with when I was in high school.
That was really good. That was really good. My high school idea was going to see Queen of the Damned, and now I'm here, and so are you.
Look at that. Look at that. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. Look at that.
I have one more plug.
Oh, plug.
I wrote on Supergiant Robot Brothers, which is on Netflix.
Oh,
If you
cool.
like kaijus and robots, fighting those kaijus, and are a child or childlike, go watch Supergiant Robot Brothers.
Go watch Supergiant Robot Brothers. You can find the podcast social media at Blockbusting Pod on all the social media platforms. Subscribe to us on YouTube too. Why don't you? If you like the show, please consider subscribing on Patreon. All of the money you give on Patreon goes to help support the show and the show getting made. We do have production costs. And right now I'm paying for all of it out of pocket, baby. And I want to be able to subsidize the show with your love and kindness and your money, if you can.
$5 and up.
$5 is where we peak. You can submit for as little as $1 a month. That's all it takes. You get access to the bonus content in $1.
Well, I have a Patreon account. I might sign up today.
And if you go at $5, you know what you get access to?
What?
My full streaming library of all of the movies and TV shows and other weird stuff that I have on my Plex server.
Oh.
So get on that.
Well, hey, do I owe you money for making you watch Queen of the Damned? Because I bought it again.
I illegally downloaded it.
That's okay, because I bought it
Allegedly.
in 3 different formats.
That's above and beyond. And that's why you're one of the only guests to ever come back on Blockbusting.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks again, Marcelina.
Thank you, Jay. This has always been fun.
Always happy to have you. Thanks. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.